you coach pretty much women, not
Yes.
men, right?
Yes.
And so what do women want? I noticed that women do not know what they want. By working with them, what do they want?
I think there are a lot of women who do know what they want and a lot that probably don't, or a lot of women who think I want XYZ, but they actually want something else.
Right.
Right?
Right. And I notice that anytime men try to please their wives and do what they want, the woman is never satisfied. The more he tries to satisfy her, the worse she got.
Oh.
So even if the man try to give her what she says she wants, she's not happy with that. So what do women want?
I think that boiling it down on a very basic level, if I'm going to generalize most women, I think that most women want to be adored and like deeply loved, and to feel like they're loved for feel like they're loved and seen, if we're saying that, not just like looked at, but loved and understood on a very like deep level. I think that's a lot of what women are looking for.
So that's what they want.
A part of it.
Really?
Yeah.
And why do they want to be treated like they're God?
I didn't say that.
Well, you said love and adored and heard. And that's like a God-like treatment. Why do women want to be treated like God?
I don't think being loved, adored, and seen is that crazy of a expectation from a relationship or like a marriage. I don't think that's treating someone like God.
But why do they want it then? Because that is because they get angry if you don't treat them like that. Why do they want to be treated like they are God?
Well, I don't agree that that women want to be treated like gods.
But then why do they get upset when they don't get that?
So if women don't get treated with love, adoration, the feeling like they're seen and stuff like that,
right.
I think it feels, I think at the basic level, we all want to be deeply loved and understood, men and women, and loved for who we are, right?
But if they don't want to be treated like God, why do they get angry if you don't treat them that way?
Again, I don't think it's wanting to be treated like God. I think God requires a lot different, more than just those things. And I think those are pretty basic things to want in a loving relationship. But, because I don't know, like sometimes when people don't get their way, they get mad about it.
But why though? If they didn't want a God-like treatment, why get mad if you didn't want that? And why do they need that?
I think at our like basic core level, like all people, men and women, are just wanting to be loved.
But why do women need it? They're like hungry for it.
Because I think that's part of our biological wiring, is as women, men too, but in a slightly different way. But I think with women really wanting to be loved and adored and receive that kind of energy.
Another thing I noticed about women, they tend to want what they can't have. Oh. Why is that?
Can you give me an example, and then I can answer it better, I think.
They could have a good husband, for example, and he works, he takes care of the family, provide for his family. He has a roof over her head. She's full with food. She's satisfied, but she still wants something else. She wants a man that's going to treat her a little different than that, or she wants a bigger house, or she's never satisfied with what she has. Why is that?
Why, I think, would be, it like depends on the relationship, the woman, the man, whatever is going on. So, but generally speaking, I think there are a lot of people that have this idea that they should be always wanting more or always wanting better.
But why though?
I don't know.
But what's wrong with the women that are never satisfied?
I think there's some belief that they have that they should always be striving for something more or whatever it is. And I think that can come from I think, having a hard time with just being like grateful for what you have. And that can come from struggling with like consistency on some level, or struggling with stability, right? So when people sometimes are like, oh, I always need to go for the next thing,
right,
is because they might not be satisfied just like settling into, and not settling in a bad way, but like being where they're at.
And when you run into women with those issues, what do you tell them to do about that?
Yeah, so I actually don't. Thankfully, I tend to work with a lot of women who are self-aware and who are willing to do the work and will acknowledge like, oh, hey, maybe this is a shortcoming of mine, or I need to grow in this way and stuff like that. But in those kinds of situations, I would ask a woman, okay, are you actually unhappy in this current situation, in this relationship? Are you actually unhappy with everything you have right now? Or are you just operating off of some like pattern or some limiting belief that's telling you you always need to be running forward, right? Like trying to figure out, okay, is this a internal thing that you need to figure out? Or are you genuinely not happy because for whatever reason?
Oh, okay. Amazing. You said that you believe that women are chasing Jeremiah in their own relationships. Who is Jeremiah and why are they chasing him?
I don't know what that is referring to. Who is Jeremiah?
Oh, what does that refer to today? Your publisher said that, according to my producer.
From Love is Blind?
I guess so.
Maybe, the show? Oh, I don't know what that is referring to.
So your publisher told my producer, but you don't know what it is. You don't know who Jeremiah is.
I mean, the only thing I can think is that that was related to the like dating show, reality show, Love is Blind.
Okay.
But I don't know.
I understand.
Yeah, I don't know what that's referring to exactly.
Are you going to fire your publishing person?
No. No.
You might not have said this then.
Okay.
You say that women glamorize emotionally unavailable love interest. And did you say that?
I think that is true. Yeah. A lot of the times. Women,
So are you saying that a lot of women are sleeping around? Or
No.
like sluts?
No, that's not what I said. No, I was saying I think a lot of women glamorize emotionally unavailable men or glamorize toxic men, that sort of thing, where it's like seeing some, and I think people throw around that term like toxic men. I think people throw around way too cavalierly, but I think women can see like a bad boy or a guy who like doesn't treat them very well and stuff like that and think like, oh, but it's so exciting, or like, oh, I should chase after, or I should like do whatever it takes to try and be with this person, when it's like, wait, but why? His actions, his behavior is showing you that he doesn't really respect you, or you're not a priority for him. So why are you making it like romanticizing like this like dramatic love story situation?
Right. Oh,
I think we see that. And I think we see that a lot from like social media, reality TV, all of that. So that might be the point they were making with the reality show.
Do you agree with me that women who sleep around without being married are sluts, and men who sleep around are slut makers?
Well, I don't know that I probably wouldn't call them sluts. I don't think it's a good habit to be in, or a good practice to be like sleeping with people really like casually and stuff like that.
Right.
Or like multiple people, like, I don't recommend that.
So do you agree that they're sluts and that men are slut makers?
I think the men are acting, if men are doing that too, they're being a little slutty too.
That's why I said they're slut makers.
I don't think no, I mean, it's kind of slutty behavior from both people, right? Both sides.
Right, that's what I said.
Yeah.
The woman is a slut and the man is a slut maker.
Well,
True or false?
I think those are the definitions we're using. I'll let you run with it.
Do you like that? It makes sense.
I mean, I can see where you're coming from.
And so what will you say to those women who are glamorizing emotionally unavailable men? What should they do about that?
I think if a woman is finding herself in a repeated pattern of being with men who are a certain way that's not good, right? Or like, oh, I always date narcissists, or I always date guys who cheat on me, or I always date guys who don't treat me well, or whatever it is. If a woman is repeatedly finding herself in that kind of situation, the common denominator is her. And that's not to say that it's her fault, but she should take a pause maybe and realize, okay, if this is a repeated pattern in my life, what am I doing to invite that in? What am I doing to that is showing the world or showing other people that I'm okay with this? And so I think that's an opportunity for women to do the inner work, right? Do the healing, whatever inner work it is, to shift those things so that the lived experience, so that her reality and the results she's getting in her relationships and dating life is different. So I would say, okay, let's take a pause, take a little break from dating. Let's do some inner work, some coaching, some that kind of stuff, some healing, get really clear on what you do want, and then make different choices, right? Because I think a lot of people, men and women, but a lot of women fall into that cycle of then they do the same things hoping for a different outcome.
Right. But it is her fault that she get in those relationships. It's no one else's fault, right? It's her fault.
I mean, if we can simplify it down to that, on a really, onto that level, sure.
Is it her fault?
I think that we are the architects of our reality in many, many ways, and we're in control of our own lives. And so if we want to, I don't like using the fault word because I don't want people get into situations for a lot of reasons. If someone had a really awful childhood, that's going to shape a lot of their behaviors in adulthood. Now, a lot of people make the choices to do the healing from that so that they're not making crappy decisions, but a lot of people don't. And again, so sure, yeah, that's their fault,
So
I guess.
Is it her fault?
It's her responsibility to change it, I would say.
Is it her fault?
It's her, she is the cause of that. So sure, if we want to say it's her fault.
Why is it hard to say, yes, it's her fault?
I don't want this to be clipped into some soundbite that's going to look a certain way, you know?
So what now?
No, I was saying I don't want this to be chopped up in some soundbite that's making me sound like I'm blaming women for stuff, But I would say.
But what's wrong with blaming women? Women are at fault for the things they do, and men are at fault for the things they do. Why can't women say, and a woman admit that it is her fault? It's no one else's fault.
Yeah, I actually do think that women.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do think that.
So why is it so hard for them to say it's women's fault or the lady saying, my fault, I did this?
Yes, I think if a woman finds herself in the same kind of crappy situation over and over again, and a man too, if you find yourself oh, this is my third time being in a relationship.
I know, but why is it hard for women to say it's their own fault? It's no one else's fault but theirs.
Because I think there's more nuance. Well, no. I think that fault can be, just the word can be very make it seem like they knowingly went into those kinds of situations that caused a lot of pain for them.
But they love to blame everybody else for their situation. Why do women love blaming everyone else for their situation, but never themselves?
I think that's a problem. I think men and women.
Why is that, though?
I don't know. I think that whether it's men and women, we have an epidemic of victim culture going on in our world right now that has, especially in the last, 10 years, but really in the last 5 years or so, been encouraged, a victim mindset. And so I think a lot of people, whether it's dating or someone's money situation, whatever it is, a lot of people are blaming anyone else but themselves for their situation.
Women, right? So let me ask, and I wasn't thinking this way at all. So as we are speaking, are you thinking about sound bites and and clips?
Sometimes.
So you're sitting there thinking, you know what? I better be careful what I say because they may use this as a soundbite.
I'm very aware of what I'm sharing, of course.
Because
I understand how the internet works.
Wow, I was not.
But I want to be clear. I'm not thinking you're gonna pull some shady stuff on me. I'm not thinking that. I'm just wanting to be really mindful of the words I'm choosing.
Because they may take it and put it into a soundbite, and you look bad.
No, I don't think you or your team, but I think things can get chopped on the internet, People don't like context these days. They look at 5 seconds and they're like, I've got the whole story figured out instead of looking at like the whole picture and understanding the subtleties.
Well, mess. You have you noticed an evolution of masculinity on the screen?
I think we've seen a lot of things with masculinity. I think a few years ago, masculinity was really under attack. I think that anything that seemed more traditionally masculine or whatever was called toxic, no matter what, even if it wasn't. I think there are definitely masculine people and men who behave toxically, just like I think there's plenty of women who behave toxically, right? But I think that there was a few years where anything that seemed traditionally masculine was under attack and was called as like bad or wrong or toxic. And I think that caused a lot of men to kind of like retreat in many ways, not want to speak up, not want to ask women out, whatever it was, right? Like, I think that was really unfair to men in a lot of ways. And I think that, there's crappy men and there's crappy women, right? On both sides, just like there's good men and there's good women as well, right? You're going to have bad people of both genders and good people of both genders. And so while I think, yes, like bad male role models shouldn't be getting as much attention, just like bad, female role models shouldn't.
Why do women hate men so much that they made up that word, toxic masculinity, or those words? Why do they hate men so much that they try to destroy them?
So I think that there was a lot of, and that's like a lot, like I don't completely know the answer to that, but I do think that there was this like very big push to make anything that was masculine be bad, right?
Yeah.
And so there was like an attack on masculinity, I do think, and I think we saw a lot of like weak men kind of come to the surface also that weren't necessarily great role models or having good messages. And I think we saw a lot of like, I think we also saw like a lot of highly emotional, not leadership, but I think that like, cause I think there is toxic masculinity just like there's toxic femininity.
But there's no such thing as toxic masculinity. That's made up. Those are made up words. That doesn't even exist.
I disagree.
What is it? What is it then?
Well, so I think that healthy masculinity is about strength, about protecting, about providing, about creating safety. I think healthy masculinity is leadership, is decisiveness, is taking action, all those kinds of qualities. When that goes bad or wrong is when those sorts of qualities become controlling, become manipulative, become domineering, become oppressive, right? Whereas toxic femininity is a lot of what I think we've seen in recent years, but I think it's been changing the last like couple years. So a lot of toxic femininity is like feelings over everything, right? Well, I feel this way, so it must be true. Well, my feelings feel like this is a bad belief, so it has to be wrong, right? So bypassing all truth, right, for the sake of feelings. That's toxic feminine energy. And I think that was like a lot of our culture the last several years. And I think it's starting to balance out a little bit, but also we'll see.